Thousands have again taken to the streets across the Philippines to protest a major corruption scandal involving flood control projects. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is facing public fury over bogus flood mitigation infrastructure projects, which costs taxpayers billions of dollars. It's the Philippines' worst corruption scandal in years. Protesters are demanding a transparent investigation. Flood control is a hot-button issue in the Southeast Asian country, which is prone to deadly floods and extreme weather. Hundreds perished in Typhoon Kalmegi just weeks ago. Let's get more from DW reporter Ana Santos, who's at the protest in Manila. Ana, tell us what protesters are saying.
Well, in this latest wave of massive protests against the millions that were stolen from government funds meant for flood control projects, I heard protests raging with emotions of grief and just deep-seated anger. The rage is coming from the uncovered corruption that they found to be systemic and deliberate, and just the unconscionable level that it was done. We saw nationwide government control projects that were either substandard or did not exist. Now, since these protests started in September, those feelings of rage have been now powered by another emotion of grief. The Philippines was hit by back-to-back typhoons just recently, and we saw in certain places citizens scrambling up to their rooftops, trying to escape raging, rapidly rising floodwaters. Now, what the protesters here have told me is that corruption not only steals from people, it is literally drowning them, and in some cases, tragically even killing them.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the flood control projects that were supposed to be built? How were they supposed to work? What were people expecting?
So the Philippines is one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world. It is ravaged by an average of about 20 typhoons. So these flood mitigation projects, which are like dikes, floodways, waterways, those were meant to cushion the impacts of these typhoons, if not prevent floods altogether. So this was essentially crucial, not just to protect people, but in the frequency of the way that climate crisis has hit the Philippines, just give them a little bit of breathing room to recover from one disaster to another. Now, what we saw was government officials from the highest level of the Senate down to local government officials approving these flood control projects, and then contractors supposedly executing them. Each step of the way, there was a kickback taken by these people. And this resulted in what you just said, either substandard, bogus flood control projects, or even ghost projects that just simply did not exist.
So you talk about these politicians who were involved. When will this case get to court? And is there any confidence in the justice system handling this without interference, given the powerful people that have been ended up, in the eye of this storm?
I was speaking to the protesters earlier about what they want to happen today, and they had two call-outs. In the immediate, they want all those implicated from the highest levels of government down to the contractors, they want them all put in jail. Now, they're saying that the measures that the government has taken so far in terms of the investigations, the filing of charges against low-level government officials, and even some government officials returning some of the stolen money, they're not having any of it. They're saying that those things are just superficial, cosmetic, and just unacceptable considering the damage that has been done. Now, they're saying that they're not having any of this. Earlier, Melissa, the protesters, the rallies, they weren't just holding up their banners and their flags, they were also holding up their middle finger as a sign of their deep-seated contempt. Now, another pocket of protesters are calling for a complete overhaul of the government. They want the removal of the president, right down to all of the officials that were implicated in this flood control corruption scandal. They want a national transitional council, which will be headed by local citizens, to take over. They say that this is the only way that this systemic corruption that enables things like this flood control scandal to happen, this is the only way to prevent that and the only way to fix a broken system.
DW reporter Ana Santos, thank you very much.